What's up, everybody? Hope this finds you doing well. This is Danelle here at Networkchain. Today, we're going to talk about some of the news stories over the past week that has definitely gained a lot of interest, of course, into Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space. But let's go ahead and zoom out and look at what Bitcoin can do in the future and where it is currently. So sometimes we have to take a step back and zoom out a little bit to have a better understanding of what Bitcoin is and what it could potentially do in the future. And it's important because a lot of people have unit bias. And what we mean by that is, yes, one Bitcoin currently is over $100,000. And obviously, that is a ton of money. And most people in the United States and around the world would not be able to afford one Bitcoin. But you can have $1 and be able to invest in Bitcoin. As long as you have access to an internet connection, you are able to have access to Bitcoin. It's not only for rich people, it's not only for institutions, it's not only for banks. Bitcoin is open, decentralized, and is available to anyone. So I want to make that very clear in that it doesn't matter how much money you put into Bitcoin. You don't have to try to get a full Bitcoin. That's not what is important here. We can actually look at it as like a glorified savings account. When you look at what Bitcoin has done over time, it has outperformed gold, it has outperformed the S&P 500, it has outperformed the Magnificent Seven. When you look at its compound annual growth rate, it has outperformed all of those major assets since its existence. Now, I can understand people would argue, hey, Bitcoin started at less than $1 and it was trading for cents, and now it is to $100,000. So yes, that was a ridiculous trajectory over the past 15, 16 years. But now we can see that there's even more places that Bitcoin could go because it's still not known globally in terms of the zeitgeist of the world, and so it still is a tiny asset. Now, this is a little bit outdated. Obviously, Bitcoin is currently trading over $2 trillion, but it's good to check out this particular chart. This is from Strategy in one of their presentations to their investors at a earnings presentation. But basically, it gives you an idea of where Bitcoin is in comparison to other major assets and other investable assets. So when you look at Bitcoin, currently at 2 trillion, gold is now at about 22 trillion. And one thing that we continue to hear is Bitcoin is digital gold. It's a better gold in terms of it's not physical where you have to try to carry gold bars from one place to another. It's very easy to transfer value, to transfer Bitcoin peer to peer from one person to another. You don't have to arrange for a Brinks truck to carry gold or to try to fly gold from one country to another or through shipping and things of that nature. You can easily just transfer that value through a transaction on a decentralized network using the internet and be able to get that value within minutes. So that's definitely one of the benefits for sure when it comes to Bitcoin as a digital gold. So if it were to be digital gold, if it were to become a store of value, like many people use gold as a store of value, particularly in times of rising inflation, which is definitely happening here in the United States, as well as other parts of the world. Some other parts of the world have hyperinflation to where their dollars and their money and their currencies are becoming less and less valuable to where they have to go somewhere else. They have to look to something else to be able to hold any type of value, to be able to have the basic necessities that they need to live. So Bitcoin provides that opportunity. So we can see that it's gone from being from less than $1, went from cents to now being over $100,000. So it shows that over time, if you hold for 15 years, that it did multiples and grew exponentially. So will we have a $1 to $100,000 jump? Probably not, or if we do, it won't be anytime soon. But could we definitely see more growth as we continue to move forward? Absolutely. If we look here at this chart, you can see Bitcoin will be going after the real estate market. There's a lot of aspects of real estate that are obviously very important and very essential to be able to have, a roof over our head, but you don't have to own the real estate. But if you do, totally understandable. But now a lot of people who are investing in real estate as a way of investing, they are looking to Bitcoin because they understand that real estate comes with a lot of taxes, a lot of fees, a lot of headaches when you're dealing with tenants, when you're a landlord. There's property taxes that continue to rise every year. I mean, there's so much and so many obstacles and barriers that can be in the way when you're trying to maneuver in the real estate game, that a lot of real estate investors have actually started to put their money and sell their investment properties and put it into Bitcoin, because you don't have to worry about a lot of the pitfalls that can come with investing in real estate. And also, Bitcoin outperforms, for the most part, real estate. Real estate, generally, you can expect to make 5 to 7% potentially every year. And that's after I mentioned all of the fees and taxes and, maintenance costs that come with maintaining a real estate investment property. But when it comes to Bitcoin, you don't have any of that. And you also have a better rate of return. Just over the last 4 or 5 years, Bitcoin has a 40% annual growth rate. So what's larger, 40% or 5 to 6%? With all the headaches with the 5 to 6%. Also, the bond market. A lot of institutions cannot invest in Bitcoin, at least not right now. So a lot of institutions are only able to invest in fixed income type assets like bonds. And now there are opportunities to invest into Bitcoin to have the type of return using a conduit like Strategy, for example, that will provide opportunities for people to, as a proxy, be able to have a fixed income asset and have Bitcoin be the underlying layer. So just have an understanding that there's a lot of room to grow for Bitcoin. So it doesn't matter if you have one, you can have 0.1, you can have 0.01, you can have 0.001. We have to get rid of that unit bias. It's about stacking Satoshis. There's 100 million Satoshis in one Bitcoin. So the first goal can be, can I get to 100,000 Satoshis? Can I get to 1 million Satoshis? Can I get to 10 million Satoshis? Currently, 10 million Satoshis, which is 0.1 Bitcoin, is around $10,000. That is a lot of money, but you can start with $1. You can look at it as a savings account. At the very least, if you put your money in a U.S. bank account, you're getting maximum for a high yield savings account about 4 to 5%, if that. But most savings account, you're getting less than 0.5%. As I mentioned, the last 4 or 5 years, Bitcoin has been at a 40% annual growth rate. What is better, 0.5% or 40%? So just some food for thought. Let's go into some of the bigger news stories over the past week. We'll get through this quickly. Don't want to take too much of your time. Thank you so much for watching. As you can see here, and we mentioned the bond market, one of the reasons why Bitcoin also could be a great hedge and a store of value is because you're starting to see that bonds are being sold off. Recently, over the past week, really a week and a half ago or so now, Moody's, which is one of the top credit rating agencies, downgraded U.S. debt. And that relates to the U.S. bonds. So a lot of people, a lot of companies, a lot of institutions buy bonds to get a fixed income because of the fact that the U.S. is known to pay back their debtors. But if you're being downgraded, that means that there is a little bit more skepticism as to whether or not the U.S. would be able to handle the debts that they hold, because we're seeing that the U.S. deficit is continuing to grow, and the GDP, the gross domestic product, the state of the economy is not growing along with the deficit. And so that's not a great recipe for a thriving economy. So that a lot of people are concerned and worried about this happening potentially in the United States. So as part of your due diligence, we definitely would say it's very important to learn about macroeconomics, learn about money, learn about your money and how it affects you moving forward in your family, and why Bitcoin could be an alternative. Not the end all be all, but something that you can consider to at least put a small percentage of your portfolio into Bitcoin, because at the very least it can be a boosted savings account As usual, we really appreciate you checking us out here on YouTube every week. And of course, you can check us out on X as well as on IG. Happy Pizza Day. That was earlier this past week. That was when a guy traded 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas to be delivered to his home. You can do the math on how much that would be worth right now, but it's definitely a legendary transaction for the history books. And the guy who did make this trade said he would do it all over again, and we're sure that he had much more than 10,000 BTC at the time, so we're sure that he's probably doing okay. But anyway, thank you again so much for watching. We appreciate you. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to us on X or IG, or of course through the comments here on YouTube. And we hope you take care, and we look forward to linking up with you soon on the network chain. Bye bye.